What's up YouTube, and welcome to your next geek trip. Today, I just want to show you how even a $300 3D printer like this Monoprice Maker Select can print in 50 microns. Stay tuned. So I'm sure many of you have come across a 3D printer that touts the resolution as a selling point. Early on in 3D printing, it was 0.1 millimeters or 100 microns. Oh, I can do 100 microns. 100. Can this 3D printer do 100 microns? Can that 3D printer do 100 microns? Oh, but can it do 100 microns or 0.1 millimeters? And now, lately, it's been all about 0.05 millimeters or 50 microns. Ooh, wow, can it handle 50 microns? Well, I'm here to tell you that when purchasing a printer, that is one of the least important concerns that you need to make. As I've proven, this is one of the cheapest 3D printers, at least with a semi-decent build volume that you could get. It's about $350, but I got it for a little bit cheaper at the time, and they've even come out with a newer model since then. It's based off of the Wanhao Duplicator i3. It's a decent printer. It doesn't have auto bed leveling. It doesn't have a lot of the higher end features, but it can get the job done. And I think I've proven that with this right here. Because as you can see right here, it was able to print 50 microns quite well. As you can see, there's a little bit of deforming in it, but 90% of what you're seeing, well, 99% of the issue that you're seeing is really just that I haven't taken the time to fully take off the support material. But one thing to notice is really just how incredibly smooth it is. The detail is superb, I must admit. The M is extremely good looking. The eyes, the way they contour in, a lot of, even the head. Usually heads, circles, round objects are extremely difficult to look great with 3D printers because you see the individual layers and that gets quite annoying. But at 50 microns, it's really difficult. I mean, you can see the layers, but it's pretty much perfect as far as the feeling and everything else. Now you can see that it shows the arms. They're like long, they go down to the bottom. That was actually built into the file. I haven't really been able to get it off, but really this was only to prove a point. And I do believe I've made it. This was the second attempt at this. I realized one issue is that when you're printing at such high resolutions, with support material, your main issue is trying to make it where it's kind of a catch-22. You want to make it where it's easy enough to get off, but strong enough where it doesn't mess up during the print. Well, when it's at these levels, that's pushing it down, and it's not that great with support material. The thing that most people don't understand when it comes to your first 3D printer is that print times are so important. Whenever you move down to as low as 50 micron, let me just give you an example. This right here, this little thing, not even 2 inches tall, not even 2 inches wide, took 3 hours. That's right, 3 hours and 50 microns. Now, if you want to make something like a really nice model or something like that you're gonna paint, okay, 50 microns, that really might be for you. But 90% of your projects, unless that's the primary reason you're buying a 3D printer, and if it is, to be honest, I would suggest something like an SLA 3D printer instead of an FDM. But if you can't afford an SLA, which I fully understand because I really want one, but they're expensive. So if you can't afford one, I get it. And just understand that 3D print times are going to be really, really high. And maybe in those cases, you would like to have a nicer printer that doesn't jam very often, that you know is going to work. I mean, I can legitimately say that this printer I know is going to work. And probably 98% of the time, it's going to complete it pretty well. There may be some issues with the print, but I would consider it to be a well enough I would consider it to be a success of a print. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Now, what exactly makes the difference between the $300 printer and that $1,000 printer? Well, for one, the parts are typically better. They are. A lot of them, whether it's 1,000 or 300, is going to come from China, but there are going to be better tolerances, and that is something that you want. But once again, the number one issue whenever you get into stuff lower than 50 microns is really, it really comes down to nozzle size and just being able to push out the plastic and having to push it out so slow. And I mean, there are a few things, but I mean, so many things come into play. Vibrations come into play. I mean, you want to look at the features. You want to look at how often it can do what it says it can do. If it can do it 100%, well, nothing is 100% of the time. But I mean, if it can really work well, and it's all about how much you want to tinker. For $300, I honestly don't tinker that much with this. I've owned a few other 3D printers, and I had one with auto bed leveling. That is probably still to this day my favorite, but to be honest, when you level this, you don't have to level it very often. Especially with this bed right here, the PEI bed. I would definitely suggest you checking out the video on that if you haven't already. That's pretty much it. I really just wanted this misconception to be put to rest, because you're not going to really want to print at those heights, and if you absolutely must, once in a while, pretty much any 3D printer can handle it. You just want to look at other features the printer has. Dual extrusion, the type of extruder, you know, how often it's going to be able to replicate these results without tinkering, without having to worry about it. I hope you liked the video. I know it was a lot of rambling, but I just really wanted to discuss this with you. Thanks so much. Have a great day.